On a freezing Monday morning, Ironwood Correctional Facility felt heavier than usual, as if the cold itself carried a warning. The steel gates groaned open, letting in a bus full of new inmates, each one stepping off with fear, anger, or confusion written on their faces. But among them was one man who didn't seem to belong in any category, Marcus. He walked slowly, shoulders slightly hunched, eyes lowered, doing everything possible to stay unnoticed. Dressed in the same orange uniform as everyone else, he somehow seemed smaller, quieter, almost fragile. The guards barely acknowledged him, and the seasoned prisoners didn't waste a second glance. In a place where dominance was everything, Marcus appeared harmless, weak, someone easy to overlook. That's why they called him Ghost. He moved silently through intake, through the halls, through the noise of the cell block, fading into the background like he wasn't even there. No one knew where he came from, why he was so calm, or what was hidden behind those tired eyes. To most of the inmates, he was simply another newcomer who would either be broken or forgotten. But they had no idea that the man they ignored was about to change everything, and that's when the Rayall story begins. Big Ray noticed Marcus almost immediately, not because Marcus did anything, but because he didn't. In a place where every man tried to look tougher than he felt, Marcus's quietness made him stand out in the worst way. Ray, towering over everyone with his massive frame and years of ruling the block through intimidation, saw Marcus as an easy target. And for someone like Ray, easy targets were entertainment. It started with small things at first. During lunch, Ray walked past Marcus and slapped his food tray out of his hands, laughing as it clattered across the floor. Marcus didn't argue, didn't even look up. He simply picked up the mess and walked away. That only encouraged Ray. Soon he was tripping Marcus in the hallway, knocking books out of his hands, dumping water on his bed just to watch his reaction. Other inmates watched with a mix of amusement and relief, glad the attention wasn't on them. They expected Marcus to break down, lash out, or beg for mercy, something, anything. But Marcus remained silent. He moved with the same calmness every day, never retaliating, never complaining, absorbing every humiliation like a man who had learned to live with pain. But what Ray didn't know was that patience is not weakness, sometimes, it's warning. It happened on a day that seemed no different from the others, yet something in the air felt heavier, sharper, like the tension before a storm. Marcus had slipped into the gym during free time, keeping to himself the way he always did. He wasn't lifting weights or talking to anyone, just quietly wiping down a bench, trying to stay invisible. But that kind of silence only drew the wrong kind of attention. Big Ray walked in with two of his guys, and the moment he saw Marcus alone, his grin widened. This was his stage, and Marcus was about to be his audience of one. Without warning, Ray tossed a dirty towel straight at Marcus's face and barked out an order, telling him to clean his shoes like a servant. Laughter echoed off the concrete walls, bouncing between the metal racks and weight benches. For a long moment Marcus didn't speak. He held the towel in his hands, eyes lowered the way they always were. But then something changed. Slowly, almost reluctantly, he lifted his head and looked directly at Ray, really looked at him. It was the first flicker of defiance anyone had seen from him. Ray didn't care. He shoved Marcus hard against the bench, ready to humiliate him again, confident nothing would ever change, but a single moment of pressure can be all it takes for everything to break. For the first time since he entered Ironwood, Marcus didn't move like a man trying to disappear. He moved like someone who had finally stopped holding back. When Ray swung the first punch, heavy, fast, meant to crush, Marcus slipped under it with a fluidity that didn't belong in a prison yard. It wasn't luck, and it wasn't fear. It was precision. Before anyone could register what happened, Marcus's elbow drove into Ray's ribs with a sharp, controlled strike that forced the giant to stumble backward, breath knocked out of him. The room fell silent. Ray, the man who could flatten anyone, suddenly looked stunned, almost confused. He tried to recover, to regain control, but Marcus didn't give him the chance. Every movement he made was purposeful, a knee to the chest, a palm strike to the throat, a sweep that sent Ray crashing to the floor. There was no rage in Marcus's eyes, no wild aggression. Just focus. Just discipline. It was the kind of fighting you only saw in people who trained their entire lives for moments exactly like this. When Ray finally lay on the ground, unable to stand, Marcus stepped back, calm as ever, breathing steady, and with quiet strength, he reminded everyone that he was no one's victim. By the next morning, the entire prison felt different. Word travels fast inside Ironwood, faster than truth, faster than fear, and everyone had heard what happened in the gym. Men who hadn't said Marcus's name once in a week were now whispering it in every corner of the yard. The ghost was no ghost anymore. He was the man who dropped Big Ray, the one person nobody had ever dared to stand up to. Those who used to shove past him now stepped aside. Those who laughed at him now watched him with quiet respect, or maybe something closer to caution. Even the guards, who normally never cared about inmate drama, looked at him differently, more alert, more careful. And Big Ray, the king of Cell Block D, the man who ruled through fists and fear, suddenly found himself alone. He kept his head down during meals, nursing bruised ribs and a bruised ego, avoiding Marcus's gaze like a dog avoiding the person who finally kicked back. For the first time in years, the yard felt calmer. The usual shouting softened, the tension lightened, and the daily fight seemed to just pause. It wasn't because Marcus demanded power. It was because he showed them what real strength actually looked like. Respect had finally shifted to where it belonged. In the days that followed, something unexpected began to grow around Marcus. Not fear, not tension, but a strange kind of calm. He went back to his quiet routines, reading in the library, eating alone, moving with the same steady patience he'd always shown. But now, people watched him differently. Not because they were scared of another fight, but because they sensed there was more to him than strength. One evening, a young inmate named Luis approached him, nervous and unsure. He asked Marcus if it was true that he fought like some kind of martial arts master. Marcus looked up from his book, gave a small, almost shy smile, and simply said, "Shaolin. Since I was 10. Luis couldn't understand why someone with that kind of training would allow himself to be pushed around for so long. Marcus closed his book and explained softly that sometimes power isn't about showing what you can do, it's about knowing when not to. He said the words that would stick with everyone who heard them: the strongest strike is the one you save for the right moment. From that point on, inmates who once lived in constant fear found themselves behaving differently. Less anger. Fewer fights. More control. Somehow, without trying, Marcus had shifted the energy of the entire prison. True strength had finally found its voice.